All right. Welcome back to the channel. This video, we're going to go over quickly EC135 pilot seats and passenger seats. I've also seen these seats in a 145, and I've also seen the seat belts in an S76. So I know that all the seats aren't the same in an Airbus EC135 helicopter, but the seats that we have here are Fischer and Entwicklungen, or F+E seats, and we're going to go over some common things. So the seat here is the new style pilot seat. It's got the cutout for the cyclic right here. We're also going to go over the old style pilot seats or crew seats, and then we're also going to go over the passenger seats that are in the back. And that's installed by Metro Aviation because we have the EMS interior installation. All right. Let's review a couple things on these seats. It'll be a short one, hopefully. Mainly, one of the main problems I've seen is when people are replacing seat belts, they put the lap harness in incorrectly. They install it wrong. It's not hard. So the hat bushing is supposed to go inside of the lap belt fitting against, and then the big part is supposed to go against the seat like this. And where does it say that? The only manual that talks about how to do it correctly is the new style seat component maintenance manual. It doesn't say in the old style seat manual, and it doesn't say it in the passenger seat manual. It's only in the new style, which is F+E Seat 180/260 H140. That's a long bunch of numbers for the seat. Anyway, we're going to look in the component maintenance manual where it talks about attaching the seat belt. This is a good manual. It has a ton of information on how to break it down and build it back up. But for this video, we're just going to go over a couple things. And for this thing right here, when you're installing the lap belt, well, you're going to replace the whole harness as an assembly. It's got the shoulder straps and everything, but we're going to go over that in a second. But right now is you want to make sure it says that the lap belt washer is positioned between the seat bucket and the lap belt fitting. The collar goes into the hole of the lap belt fitting, and the flange lies flat against the seat bucket laminate, it says. And then they want you to firmly tighten the screw and the nut, and check that the lap belt fitting freely rotates after the screws have been tightened. Not complicated. We're just going to go over the pictures and stuff. So the bolt goes in to the lap belt fitting. Next, the special washer, call it a hat bushing, goes inside the lap belt fitting. The next is the nut, and the picture here is for the passenger seats in the back, has this weird looking nut. That nut is supposed to go inside the seat from the inside, all right? The way it's showing right here, that's the way it's supposed to get bolted together. If it looks like this when you're done, it's wrong. It's supposed to look like this. And that's the passenger seats in the back. The pilot seats in the front just have a regular nut. Looks like this. When it's put together correctly, there's barely one thread sticking out. No worries. But the point is, once you're done, you should be able to move the lap belt fitting freely around that bolt. If you put it together and you can't move that thing, then it's not in correctly. It's installed incorrectly. Question: why do we need to change these seatbelts all the time? Well, we don't need to change them all the time, but I'm pretty sure that if I went and looked at 20% of our fleet right now and looked at their seatbelts, I would find a crack. It's on the backside underneath the rotary buckle. See this crack right here? Another picture of a different crack right here, hairline cracks. Or if it's totally cracked like this one where there's a giant chunk missing out of it, that's a problem. So you're going to need to change that. Not hard. Where do you get the part numbers for your seat belts? Should be on your status report. If it's not, on the lap belt harness part, there should be stitched in a tag, and there should be a part number on there. And if it's not there, you could go to the back of the seat where the inertia reel is, and where the shoulder straps go into the inertia reel, there's a tag. You could barely see it right there, but that one should still be there. The ones on the lap belt fitting usually fall off after some time. So importantly, another thing when you're installing the shoulder harnesses part of this seatbelt assembly, Make sure that you route the shoulder straps correctly. Like, it should not be touching any of those sideways struts. The only thing it should be touching is going over the top of that shoulder harness bar, or whatever they call that thing. Cool. Easy. All right, moving on. How do we remove? Another important thing that I think you guys are going to need to have at least in stock on occasion, or at least know that there's a part number available, because I couldn't find this part number. Anyway, we'll go over that momentarily. How are the seats in the back attached? They're attached with 4 pins, all 4 corners, right? Not hard, but if you have a map case like right here, you're going to need to remove it, because there's no way to get that one attachment pin out of there with that map case there. All right, how do we take the pins out? Well, there's 2 different types of pins. You could have both in your helicopter. Not sure why. Anyway, grab the key ring that lifts sideways, and it's on a spring clip. The spring clip holds in this little pin. That pin locks in the larger pin. So once you pull that out, make sure it's out far enough, but don't yank it and break off all those spacers and stuff. Then you could slide that pin out. No big deal. And you don't want to put any grease on it or anything. You want it to be clean, because if you have grease on it, then dirt is going to get stuck in the grease, and you're not going to be able to get those pins out, and it's going to be a nightmare. So if someone put grease on it or something like that in the past, clean it up real good. No, it shouldn't be anything on it, in my experience. Okay, so what's the problem with these spring clips? After some time, this little locking pin, which is only like attached to the spring clip by it's like riveted on, or like peened on, you know what I mean? It's like smashed in there. So it's barely held in there. So if you're pulling that thing out and it just breaks off, then you're going to need to replace it. And how do you do that? There's no parts in the IPC that talk about it, which is crazy. But there's a kit that has all the rivets and spacers in the spring clip and the key ring and this little locking pin. Let me see what the part number is. Hold on. So the kit is awesome. You could redo the whole thing. You just need to, have a rivet puller or a pop rivet gun. All right, so the part number for this kit, they call it the Quick Connector Repair Kit. The part number is 9507-902. And I think it comes with, I don't know, maybe it's just one of everything. So if you need all 4 for your seat, order 4 of them, but usually it's just one that's broken. I have no idea where I got this part number from, but this is the repair that you need to do this job. Well, I'm not even going to go over removing the seats in the front. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's not hard at all. Moving on, what have I seen also is we leave our helicopters outside in the sun and in the cold, and pilots use the headrest as like a handle to pull themselves in the helicopter. I don't recommend that. So if you have cracks in the foam in the headrest, you can order inside of the manual at the beginning. It shows you a part number of 2 different types of sealant that you could seal those cracks. But if it's cracked more than, I don't know, 1/10 of an inch, not a lot, you're supposed to replace the headrest. And we're going to just go over the new style seat, replacing the headrest, because it's kind of wonky. It's not. It's actually really simple. So the new style seat, pilot seat, headrest, has this little dog leg part. It's held on by this little tang. You don't see it on this one because it's broken off, because somebody just didn't read the manual and just yanked the headrest out. The little tang on the shoulder harness support would be like right there. And this is in the headrest removed. This bar is already rotated. Pretty simple. How do you change this headrest? Open up the back of the seat cover. Get access to this bar that you see it goes up and down. It's the shoulder harness support strap or something like that. Disconnect this one screw and just rotate this bar. Top comes towards you and it rotates down like that. It unlocks that little tang on the dog leg of the headrest, and then you can just pull the headrest out, and it's kind of spring loaded sideways, so be careful you don't tear your seat cover. Easy. Cool. Next, when you're replacing the shoulder harness, I think this is the new style seat only, is it has these two bushings. There's a bushing there and there's one inside of it. So those two bushings working together works like a little bearing. So when the shoulder strap moves past that, it kind of rotates those bushings together. One of them's brass, one of them looks like it's stainless. So when you're taking this off, don't drop that and lose it. Just a heads up. The other time that you're going to disconnect the seat belts or the lap belts from the seat is when you need to change the seat cover. Not a big deal. Just take your time putting that new seat cover on, and once it's all fitted, sit in it for a little bit so it all gets stretched out before you poke the hole in for the shoulder straps, or you poke the hole in for the bolts to go through the seat. Just a heads up. All right, this isn't complicated, but I've seen this wrong a bunch of times, and I've seen cracked seatbelt turnbuckle assemblies or rotary buckle, and I've seen that cracked a lot. So I just want to bring this to you guys' attention. I've seen it installed incorrectly plenty of times. Just saying. So cool. That's it for this one. Hey, one last thing. All the manuals for the Fischer and Entwicklungen seats, new style pilot seats and the old style pilot seats, also the seats that go in the back, the passenger seats, I'll add those manuals to the shared documents. There'll be a link in the description. Hope it helps. You should be able to get it from whoever you work for, but either way, it should be here until I get shut down. Thanks again. Hope you guys found some value in it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Later.